My name is Samantha Delaney. I'm 47 years old, and my life fell apart in a single text message. It happened on a quiet evening, in the hallway of what used to be my apartment building. I had just returned from the hospital, after spending 10 long days by my sister Vanessa's side. She'd needed emergency surgery, and I had barely left the waiting room since the night she was admitted. I was exhausted, physically, emotionally, mentally. I hadn't slept in a proper bed in over a week. I had been living on vending machine coffee and dry sandwiches from the hospital cafeteria. All I wanted was to go home, take a shower, crawl into my own bed, and maybe talk to my husband Kyle. Instead, I found the lock on our apartment door changed. Confused, I reached for my phone. That's when I saw it. "We're done. Get your stuff from the storage unit." That was it. No explanation, no apology, just that cold, heartless message. I stood there, staring at the glowing screen, trying to make sense of it. After 15 years of marriage, Kyle ended things with a text, and he didn't even bother to say why. A few more messages followed. "I moved your things to Unit 23B at Westside Storage. Keys under the mat. I pawned your jewelry. It wasn't worth much anyway. Sold the Toyota. You never drove it." That's when the shock gave way to pain. The antique locket my grandmother gave me, gone. My wedding ring and pearl earrings Kyle gave me on our 10th anniversary, sold. The car I had saved for and bought myself, the only thing that ever felt truly mine, gone. I leaned against the wall, too stunned to cry, too tired to even scream. The hallway was dimly lit and cold. I felt like a stranger in my own life. I could have called him, could have begged him to explain, to give me a second chance, to at least look me in the eye, but instead, I made a choice. I typed one message. "You'll regret this." Then I blocked his number. The next few hours were a blur. I found the key under the mat, just like Kyle said. Then I took a taxi across town to the storage facility. Unit 23B was small and dusty. Inside were a few boxes and bags, my clothes, some books, kitchen stuff he didn't want. 15 years of marriage reduced to whatever didn't matter to him. That night, I checked into a cheap motel near the hospital. I needed to be close to Vanessa. As I lay on the scratchy motel bed, staring at a stained ceiling, a thought came over me. I had nothing left. No home, no husband, hardly any belongings. It should have terrified me. But instead, it felt freeing. I met Kyle 20 years ago at a teachers' conference in Sacramento. He was the PE teacher with a bright smile and easy charm. I taught art. We bonded over shared frustrations with school budget cuts, and how little people valued creativity in the classroom. Kyle was the kind of man who remembered birthdays, brought me coffee, and hung student art with me before exhibitions. He made me feel seen. But over the years, that man faded, especially after he was passed over for a promotion. He became distant, irritable, always at the gym, never home. I suggested counseling, but he brushed it off. Then came Vanessa's health scare, and when I chose to stay by her side in the hospital, Kyle chose to walk away. The next morning, I sat by Vanessa's hospital bed and told her everything. She was pale and weak but managed to whisper, "That absolute bastard. I'll kill him." "No," I told her, "you need to get better. I'll figure it out." She looked at me with worried eyes. "Where will you go? What will you do?" "I have a little savings," I said, "enough to rent a small place, and I've been thinking about applying to that arts administration program at the university." Vanessa squeezed my hand. "You don't have to be strong with me, Sam." But I wasn't pretending. Something had shifted inside me. I wasn't going to waste another moment crying over a man who didn't think I was worth a goodbye. Within a week, I found a tiny studio apartment near the high school where I still taught. I moved in with my few belongings. While unpacking, I found something Kyle had missed, my external hard drive. Inside it was my digital art portfolio, years of illustrations, animations, and ideas I had created quietly, just for me. 3 months later, the divorce papers came. Kyle had taken everything, our savings, the apartment, even half my retirement. His lawyer claimed I had abandoned the marriage. I could have fought him in court. Vanessa even got me a lawyer who was ready to go to battle. But when I opened an email from the university saying I'd been accepted into the arts administration program, with a partial scholarship, I knew what I had to do. I signed the papers and let it all go. I also resigned from the school at the end of the semester. I'd spent 2 decades in the same system, but I couldn't face the whispers or the chance of running into Kyle in the break room. Vanessa didn't like the idea. "You're letting him win," she said. "That school was your life before him." "That's the problem," I replied. "Everything here reminds me of him. I need a clean break." I showed her my portfolio. I told her about art therapy programs that use digital tools to help people heal from trauma. I had a dream of starting something like that, something that blended my love for art and teaching into something that could help others. She looked through my work and smiled. "These are beautiful, but it'll take time." "I know," I said, "but I've applied for a night shift at the university library. Between that and the scholarship, I'll manage." As I walked out that night, the sky was turning orange over the mountains, and for the first time since Kyle shut the door on our life, I felt hopeful. I lost everything, but maybe, just maybe, that's how you start something new. Because sometimes rock bottom isn't the end. It's just where you finally stop sinking and start to rise. News about the upcoming interview had spread faster than I expected. People across the country were already talking about Canvas, the program I had spent months building from scratch. It was like watching a tiny spark turn into a roaring fire. I picked up my phone and called Vanessa right away. "This is it," she said, her voice filled with pure excitement. "This is how you show Kyle what he threw away." But I didn't feel the rush of revenge I thought I might. "I haven't thought about Kyle in months," I said slowly, surprised at how true that felt. "This isn't about him anymore. It's about what I've built with my own two hands." And it really was. Somewhere in the sleepless nights of coding, testing, designing, and reworking every piece of the program, I had stopped thinking like someone who had been abandoned. I wasn't the same woman who cried in that hallway, locked out and discarded. I had become someone new, someone stronger. The day before the interview was scheduled to air, I was alone in my small office when I heard a soft knock at the door. I looked up to see a familiar face, Janet, my old coworker from the high school art department. She looked nervous as she stepped inside. "Hope it's okay that I stopped by," she said, sitting down across from me. "I saw the promo for your interview tomorrow. Looks amazing, but I thought you should know something." I felt a chill run down my spine. "What is it?" Janet shifted uncomfortably. "Kyle's been fired." I blinked, stunned for a second. "What?" She nodded, clearly uneasy. "They caught him selling equipment from the athletic department, weights, uniforms, even electronics from the coach's office. The new athletic director started noticing missing items. Turned out Kyle had been pawning things for cash." I sat still, trying to process the words. "How long has this been going on?" I asked. "More than 2 years," she said quietly. "Started small, but it got worse after you left. He's been drinking a lot, missing work. The school was already looking into him for other issues when this all came to light." 2 years. That meant he had started stealing long before Vanessa's surgery, long before he changed the locks. His downfall didn't begin with me leaving, it began long before. Janet wasn't finished. "There's more," she added in a hushed voice. "The car, your Toyota, the police are looking into that too. Turns out he forged your name on the title before selling it. When the new owner tried to register it, the DMV flagged it. It's title fraud, could be serious." I felt a heaviness settle in my chest. That car had meant something to me. It was the one thing I had worked for, bought with my own savings, and Kyle had sold it behind my back, like it was nothing. "Will they press charges?" I asked. "Most likely. Forging a title and selling property that doesn't belong to you, that's a felony. He could go to jail." I should have felt vindicated. I should have felt powerful, like I had finally gotten the last word, but I didn't. I just felt empty. The man Janet was describing wasn't the one I had fallen in love with. This version of Kyle, a desperate, reckless man who stole from his workplace and forged signatures, was a stranger to me. After she left, I sat in silence, watching the sun begin to dip behind the mountains. The interview would air early the next morning, 7 a.m. Eastern Time, which meant 4 a.m. here in Nevada. I should have been reviewing my talking points, but my mind kept drifting back to Kyle. That's when my phone rang. The number wasn't saved in my contacts, but the Reno area code told me all I needed to know. I hesitated for a second, then answered. "Samantha?" Kyle's voice was hoarse and low. "Please don't hang up." I didn't say anything. "I saw the promo for your interview. You look really good. I'm happy for you." Still, I stayed silent. "I know you know about the school, about the car. I messed up. I messed everything up. His voice cracked. I've been trying to reach you for over a year. I called 365 times. You never answered. I had forgotten all about that. I had blocked his number the night he texted me to collect my things and never looked back. I never heard another word from him, until now. Say something, he pleaded, please. Finally, I found my voice. What do you want, Kyle? I want to apologize. I want to explain. I don't need an explanation, I said firmly. I don't need closure. Whatever you did, whatever your reasons were, they don't matter to me anymore. Sam. No, I interrupted. You don't get to call me that anymore. You lost that right. You sold my things. You threw me out of our home. You treated me like I didn't matter. I was desperate, he said, almost whispering. I had gambling debts. I thought I could fix it. I was scared and stupid. Stop, I said sharply. You made your choices. Now you're living with the consequences. I don't want to hear your excuses. There was a long pause before he spoke again. The police want me to turn myself in tomorrow. I didn't respond. Will you be back from New York by then? Could we meet, just once? I closed my eyes. A part of me still remembered the man I married, the man who made me coffee, who helped me hang art in the hallways, who smiled at me like I was the only person in the room. But that man was gone, and nothing he said now could bring him back. No, I said quietly, I don't think that would help either of us. Then I hung up before he could say another word. I turned off my phone. I had a flight to catch in the morning, a new future to step into, a future that belonged to me, and me alone. Kyle was part of my past. And I had no intention of going back.